Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tisha. I am a good witch, and this series is all about spiritual awakening, the stages of spiritual awakening, what you can expect during spiritual awakening, as well as me sharing my journey and my experiences of my own spiritual awakening thus far, which actually started about 10 years ago, maybe more, and I feel like I was sort of reawakened the past like 3 or 4 years, but we'll go over that as well. Like I said, spiritual awakening can be super confusing, and I'm here to keep it real and let you know about mine and let you know what you can expect from yours. So stay tuned, guys, because coming up, we're going to go over the stages that we did in the video I did yesterday, as well as go through stages 3, 4, 5, and 6. So hold on, guys. So how do you know if you've actually started a spiritual awakening, right? Because it's so crazy and so many different things can be happening. How are we to know if it's actually a spiritual awakening? Well, usually with a spiritual awakening, and it doesn't apply to all people, but most of the people that I've listened to their stories about it are quite similar, where it's something pretty disruptive and something pretty chaotic that happens in their life that basically almost, I don't like to use the word forces them into a spiritual awakening, but it's kind of like when I talked about having that epiphany moment in your life. It's sort of like that, but it's not in the greatest sense. Usually something really bad will happen, like you'll lose a job, you'll get divorced, you were in a really long relationship and you guys suddenly break up. It's something sudden. You get into a car accident that totally changes your life. It's things like this that usually throw people into this whirlwind of what is called the spiritual awakening. So, like I said again, it's not for everybody. Some people just wake up one day and they're spiritually enlightened somehow and they're starting their stages of spiritual awakening, and it's just that easy. And I wish I was one of those people, and kudos to you all, because that's super awesome. But I think, though, even though I say that, I think everybody needs to go through their own journey for their own reasons. So as much as I say, oh, I'm jealous of that person that, supposedly had it so easy with their spiritual awakening, I'm also extremely grateful, because I can walk past a mirror sometimes and I'm just like, Jesus, I seriously just see a different light inside of me on who I've become. So I had to go through all of those things to feel the way that I do now. So basically, step 1 of your spiritual awakening, and also, guys, this does not have to be in order, but stage 1 is usually chaos. Stage number 2 of spiritual awakening is what we call bliss. And we went over that a lot yesterday, so we won't go over that again today. Oof. Dark Night of the Soul. The Purge. Release. Let go. Stage 3 of spiritual awakening of the soul. So basically, a lot of people refer to it as the dark night of the soul, the purge, letting go. I think it's a lot about letting go. I think the dark night of the soul is a lot about letting go, and it's a lot about learning who you are and learning maybe who you don't want to be anymore. The dark night of the soul lasted a very, very, very long time for me. And to the point that I thought that my spiritual awakening had completely stopped. I talked a little bit about this in the first video. I thought my spiritual awakening just stopped. Like, maybe I am not worthy. I don't know. It felt like it physically and mentally just completely and utterly stopped. I was going through such a bad time in my life. I had my knee injury that I've spoke about a lot. It basically ended my mixed martial arts career. That with a combination of a lot of things that were going on in my life. When it rains, it pours, and yeah. My dad was a very long story, but I lost my father during this time as well, who I had just met. I didn't know him my entire life because I was adopted. So, yes, Dark Night of the Soul was terrible for me. Dark Night of the Soul, you need to understand, is like, for me, the death card in tarot. And people that are into tarot will completely understand this. Some people see the death card as terrible. I see it as a rebirth. Butterflies, you know, I like to reference butterflies, but I see blue butterflies all the time. So does my husband. It's actually weird. Just started seeing them all this year constantly. We constantly had a blue butterfly cross us wherever we were this year, like whenever we went on camping trips. But anyway, blossoming. So when you're in the dark night, you're getting rid of all of the old things that used to be you. You're getting rid of karmic cycles. You are purging out a lot of negative stuff that comes up during the first couple of phases of spiritual awakening. These are important, and you need to purge these things out to become awakened. I don't think you're going to get past this stage if you don't get past the stuff that you need to purge out. So basically, some things that you may be aware of, you may not be aware of, that you have done in the past, maybe to hurt other people, or just any baggage that you might be carrying around. I always like to look at it as, and when I'm trying to explain this to other people, I say a lot of people just don't want to take accountability for their own actions. Everybody wants to blame everybody and everything on this and this, my childhood, and a lot of it, yeah, don't get me wrong, because I know I'm a person who still has a lot to let go of, things that I had zero control of. I'm 44 years old now, and I know that I need to let these things go so I can move on and better my life. I'm not saying they're easy to let go. If they were, I wouldn't still be working on them today. But I know for me, I'm in my second to last stage of awakening, and I'll probably be in this stage for a while until I can completely let go of the few things that are holding me back from completely awakening. And so that's how I feel. So Dark Night of the Soul is a really rough part of your journey. A lot of people say it is the most difficult part, and I agree. But I also think when and if you can get past this Dark Night of the Soul, you are just going to feel so released and so new and lighter. You're letting go of all of these things in your past that you just kept referring back to. Worthiness, I know for me, I never found myself worthy enough, good enough. I'm not a perfect person. I've done bad things in my past, not horrible things, but I mean, have you been a totally perfect person? Do you have any debts to repay? Not only now, in the now, but also in your past lives. So like I said, it's karmic cycles. So the Dark Night of the Soul is really, really heavy, and that is stage 3. So something I found that really helped me during the Dark Night of the Soul was doing shadow work. For those of you who aren't familiar with shadow work, I can do an entire video on that if you guys like. If not, I welcome you guys to Google shadow work. So stage 4 of spiritual awakening is what most people refer to as the void. So what I mean by the void is, think about all the things you've gone through in the stages before this. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and especially bliss. Actually, I'd say stages 1 and 2 can make this stage really tough. But when you go through a void, you're basically feeling pretty empty. I like to refer to this one as the Hermit card. Again, I refer a lot back to my tarot cards because it reminds me of the Hermit card in tarot. Basically, during this time, for me, I sheltered myself a lot. I was still trying to absorb a lot of the spiritual energy, and I was still trying to read books and watch things, because I wasn't feeling them as much anymore. So this is why they call it the void. You sort of feel like all that connection that came into your life, that came like rushing into your life and felt so great, is now all of a sudden not there. It's there, but you feel in this moment that it's just not there. Like you've lost your communication with your spirit guides. You're not, maybe if you were opening your third eye easily, you're not experiencing that anymore. You're not seeing or hearing or feeling the same emotions that you were in the earlier stages. So that's why they call this one the void. And I believe this one can last for, let me check exactly what they say. I guess so it's months to years in this stage. So it's different for everybody. That is stage number 4, and that is the void. Most people refer to as the void. So what I mean by the void is, think about all the things you've gone through in the stages before this. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and especially bliss. Actually, I'd say stages 1 and 2 can make this stage really tough. But when you go through void, you're basically feeling pretty empty. I like to refer to this one as the Hermit card. Again, I refer a lot back to my tarot cards because it reminds me of the Hermit card in tarot. Basically, during this time for me, I sheltered myself a lot. I was still trying to absorb a lot of the spiritual energy, and I was still trying to read books and watch things because I wasn't feeling them as much anymore. So this is why they call it the void. You sort of feel like all that connection that came into your life, that came like rushing into your life and felt so great, is now all of a sudden not there. It's there, but you feel in this moment that it's just not there. Like you've lost your communication with your spirit guides. You're not, maybe if you were opening your third eye easily, you're not experiencing that anymore. You're not seeing or hearing or feeling the same emotions that you were in the earlier stages. So that's why they call this one the void. And I believe this one can last for, let me check exactly what they say. I guess so it's months to years in this stage. So it's different for everybody. That is stage number 4. And that is the void. Stage 5, 5. I love stage 5, mainly because I'm in stage 5. This is what I talked about in the very beginning of this video, that I was stuck in a stage, but if I'm gonna be stuck in a stage, then I am happy to be stuck in stage 5, or I can be in stage bliss, but then I wouldn't have had to go, I wouldn't have done all the hard work already. So stage 5 is basically when you've taken everything you've learned along your journey and you're actually putting it into action, into your everyday life. You are automatically waking up and feeling grateful to be here, grateful to be alive. You are able to communicate yourself with others so much better. You feel super, super grounded. This is the time where we have planted our seeds in the first stages, and now our roots are growing up from the earth, and they're making us feel whole and grounded. In stage 1, what comes to light when we first experience that we're going through the spiritual awakening, one of the things that can happen is that we start to come to light with our spiritual gifts. So that's really, really exciting. So when you learn that you have these gifts that you didn't know about, and then you start using them, and then you go through that void stage where it's no longer happening and you're no longer feeling it anymore. Now this stage, stage number 5, I like to call it Earth, is when you're feeling all of that stuff is working in your life now. Everything is coming together. You feel connected to the world. You feel connected to Mother Earth, other people. You know where you're going. You might not know exactly what your purpose is in life, but you know you're heading there. Everything is good. You are reaping the fruits of your labor, and it feels amazing. That is stage number 5. Stage 6, you have reached it. It's like that final card in tarot where it's the completion. Everything is done. You have done all the hard work. You have let go. You have lived out your karmic cycles. You are a brand new, beautiful person with new ideas. You are a total new you. You've had a complete rebirth. You don't just talk. You are constantly moving forward towards your goals. You know what you want. You might not know exactly what your life purpose is still, how many of us ever really do know exactly what our life purpose is completely and fully, but you know what you want and you're going towards that goal every single day when you wake up. You're waking up every day with gratitude. When you have a bad day, you're like, you know what, let me find the good in my day. Not everything is going to be perfect. I spilled my coffee. If I cry about it, I'm going to walk around the corner and stub my toe now. You're learning now to not stay within that negative mindset and that negative mind frame. Everything is just moving more smoothly because you're just flowing with everything and you're energetically open. I mean, that's where I want to be. I want to be to the point where I can really say, I don't care. I can really say, yes, I let it go. And it's a beautiful stage to be in. I've listened to videos of people talking about this stage and I'm like, wow. It's like, like, will I ever actually get to that stage? It's crazy, right? Enlightenment. Sounds cool, right? But that is the final stage of spiritual awakening, guys. So if you guys have any questions about anything that we went over with all the stages of awakening, please let me know in the comment box below, because I love this topic. I'm going to keep it going. I'm probably going to do one more video on spiritual awakening. There is a video, like I said, if you scroll through, that I did talk about some of the things that you can do to keep yourself occupied during spiritual awakening, what you can do during certain stages of spiritual awakening and things like that. So we will keep this series open for one more video, but look out soon because I am releasing by somebody who, one of my subscribers wanted to hear about my ghost story of when I was a child, kind of how I got rooted into the paranormal world. So I will be talking about the house that I lived in that was haunted, my first ghost, when I was a child. Thank you guys for watching. Please, if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to know when I release a new video. And you can also check me out on Instagram at Country Wonder Woman. I appreciate your support, likes, and comments. Thank you for helping me grow. Namaste, y'all. Also, if you guys enjoy my video, please subscribe to my content. There's also a little notification bell down below. If you press that, it will always update you on my new uploads. And hit that like button. It helps me grow on YouTube. You guys are super appreciated as always. Like, subscribe, share my content if you enjoy it. Here we go. Spiritual awakening.